Hello, today is Wednesday, June 9th, and today I worked some push presses, some hang power clean plus power jerks, some clean pulls, and then I was planning on doing some rows and overhead holds, but I ran out of time after the clean pulls, so I'll probably have to speed things up for next week, but yeah, so starting with these push presses, so I usually do some sort of jerk variation to begin my Wednesday sessions, but this time around, Aaron suggested the push press as sort of a warm-up / primer movement for the power jerk in the hang power clean plus power jerks that sort of immediately followed. Same idea as having the snatch balances before the hang snatches in the previous block. And what I'm really trying to focus on here with these push presses, that one, that rep was a little weird. I think it, I hit the block on the way down because I was dipping a little bit too low, and then on the way up it hit my chin. So I just took that warm up again. But so one thing I'm trying to focus on and think about is maintaining how do I word it? Maintaining a sorry, I'm having trouble wording it, but having my center of gravity be directly underneath the bar, I guess. And so the problem I've had in the past and now, and even now, obviously, and what I'm trying to fix is like my knees going a lot more forwards than my hips do go back. But ideally, they should be equidistant from my center of gravity and should contribute to the bar going up relatively equally too. But obviously, I'm a lot more knees forward and hips also forward. And so visualizing that center line and trying to keep things as close to that as possible is sort of how I'm conceptualizing it in my head. Obviously, it's not something that like is fixed overnight, but I think that having that concept in my head gives me sort of an image of the ideal that I should strive for. These helped a lot for the power jerks that followed. But I think, sort of still just chipping away at the dip and the drive with the center of gravity, but still far from ideal, but chipping away, which is progress. Yeah, and these were light enough for me to, I guess, not have to be perfect for me to get it up, but obviously that doesn't really like excuse for poor quality of movement, but and these power clean and power jerks were also very light. I think my top working sets were at 90. Yeah, and I still am not good at kilo bar math. I think 90 is around. Is it close to 200? I don't actually know, but yeah, same thing with these power jerks. One thing specifically I was thinking about with these power jerks was like to shorten up the dip, at least compared to the push presses, because the more distance that I travel up and down, the more likely my hips are to like move laterally. And so you can see at the first few working sets at 90, I'm dipping quite low and like my hips are moving quite a bit. But through the sets, I sort of work to try to shorten it up. So here is, I believe, my last warm up. Yeah, these hang power cleans were very, very easy. No problem with the hang power cleans. Yeah, you can see, you can see that shift forward onto my toes, and like my hips subsequently coming forward. And so, so here's my first working set. Yeah, again, these hang power cleans are easy. Yeah, pretty distinct shift forward, and like, yeah, obviously my knees are way further out forward than my hips are back, even though ideally for me to dip like straight down, I feel like it's necessary for my hips to go back as much as my knees go forward, and keeping that center of gravity in line with the bar. But yeah, it is definitely hard. Yeah, a bit shorter of a dip, but I'm still maybe a little bit, but I'm still sort of, shifting forward. And you can see me jump forward too. Yeah, cleans are easy. I think that might have been my best one. Yeah, like my hips traveled less forward. I think from just a shorter dip. I definitely like the higher I stop myself, and the better I establish that tempo without like rushing things, with like, while being patient. I think the more set up I am for success. So I sort of try to replicate it, but I think that third set was the best out of the 5. That one was also pretty short, and yeah, I think that one felt pretty good, if I recall. And then here's my last set. Yeah, easy cleans. Yeah, that one was not as good. Still some hips moving forward, and bar going forwards as well, and me jumping forwards. Then I moved on to clean pulls, and then one thing, with this warm-up that Aaron noticed right away was that I wasn't getting my shoulders far enough back, basically. Like, if I were to go into a clean with that extension, like, my body would basically just be in the way of the bar getting up. And so I'm thinking about sort of making sure I lean back enough in that extension, which I'm glad I was able to, or I'm glad, I guess, Aaron was able to spot from the very first warm-up set, because that sort of gave me something to think about and fix, and make sure was correct through these working sets. Yeah, I think these were pretty consistent across the board. At least a lot more consistent than my jerks. Just because I feel pretty solid in the first and first and second pull of the clean. Like, I feel like I'm pretty consistent with like my positioning and extension and such. But even so, I think Aaron mentioned that like this is working on these, even if I'm like comfortable with it, just gives me the opportunity to like work on like more nuanced things. Yeah. And then after this, I just I think we were expecting to be able to go to like 8 and past 8, because I came in at 6, but we had to call it at like around like 6:30, or not 6:30, 7:30 or like 7:40 or so. But yeah, so I had to miss out on the rows and overhead holds, but regardless, today was fun, and yeah, productive.